So there's a whole bunch of rumors going around about what the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to look like and what the specs are and all this stuff. Generally speaking, it's supposed to be like a PlayStation 4 and a PlayStation 4 Pro if it's docked and all this stuff. And then there's DLSS, which is going to AI upscale everything and all this other stuff. And that's really, really cool. And also the design of it supposedly got leaked, and it looks just like a Nintendo Switch, which I think a lot of people are okay with that. I think that obviously there's going to be something to differentiate it, like visually, probably with color, or like is it going to be chrome, or like, you know, is it going to stop being matted? I don't know. And it got me thinking that if this was the case, and this is what we got a Nintendo Switch that is just more powerful, is that a bad thing? No, I don't think so. I think about it like this, okay? So there was the Nintendo Entertainment System, and then we just upgraded to the Super Nintendo. It had more buttons and it had much, much better graphics and sound. Nothing was really wrong with that. It was just something that felt like a true step forward for Nintendo at the time. And with the Nintendo Switch, I'll say this, I love the games immensely. Like, they saved this generation for me. Sony and Microsoft, my God, where were the games? Like, I know that there was stuff to play, but as far as exclusives go, like, where were they? So with Nintendo, they knocked it out of the park. They had a lot of small titles, a lot of big titles. They really opened up a lot of studios to make sure there was a constant stream of video games. And whew, I am so thankful for that. The thing that I think is probably the thing I'm most excited about with Nintendo Switch 2, frankly, is that at least going forward, there's not going to be as much pop-in for like objects and people and characters and stuff, because I will say that Nintendo Switch games, though it's really, really cool to go from docked to handheld mode, it's changed my life immensely as a gamer to the point where I don't even really like doing console gaming anymore unless I'm just making an event out of it. Still, with that being said, it's so distracting seeing characters that are only 20 feet maximum, and sometimes as little as like 10 feet in front of you, pop in front of your face. Is the optimization that important that you can't even have them start to kind of come in much, much further in the distance? Like, it's so wild to me sometimes that there'll be like this really closed in area and there are still characters that are like popping in, like in games like with Danganronpa that I'm playing recently, because I would love to be more immersed in these games. That would be just delightful. And then on top of that, like, I am really, really excited to see more games from Nintendo, like specifically the Japanese studios, have the graphical capability to do something that like Luigi's Mansion 3 did. Like, Luigi's Mansion 3 is dark magic. I don't know how they managed to make that game look as good as it does, but it's incredible looking. And I just wish that all the games on Nintendo Switch looked as good as Luigi's Mansion 3 did. So while my expectations aren't going to go through the roof, I still kind of hope that the standard going forward for Nintendo Switch 2 is that we get stuff that looks quite like Luigi's Mansion 3. That would be really, really nice. And I do love the fact that with the Nintendo Switch, we just have all the portable-like experiences combined with all the, you know, main console kind of games, just kind of intertwined with one another, all on the same platform. That's really, really nice. And I don't know, like, as far as anything else goes, I think Nintendo fans know that you just gotta follow Nintendo, because they will always put out something new and innovative and exciting or super fun, or just maintain the status quo, which is just a game series that is just incredible and you can't find it anywhere else. So it's kind of interesting that with Nintendo Switch 2 or Pro, we're not going to get some big gimmick this time. You know, I think that like with Nintendo fans like myself, we've actually become accustomed to being really shocked with hardware and what they're going to do with their hardware. But if this is going to be like the first time in a long time where Nintendo is just like, nope, just the same thing, but, you know, better performing and like more possibility with the graphics and the capability of the graphics and stuff, it's kind of like surprising and shocking, but it's something that I think once it's out, it's just going to be like, yeah, this is really all we needed for now. And I honestly embrace it. It's funny because for as many times as Nintendo has done some ultra innovating, you got to remember, like, there's a lot of times where it's flopped and a lot of times where it's landed. And I think that for once it's nice that like Nintendo just looks at something and goes like, wow, this really, really worked for us. And it's just like, let's just make this but better. I'm okay with that for another generation. Again, the gimmick, which I wouldn't even say is a gimmick, I think is a true evolution in gaming, which is to be able to have your games portable and on the TV, depending on what you're in the mood for. That is something that needs to stick around. That is something that feels like a new standard instead of just something that's kind of fun and quirky for this generation. You know, like with the Wii and the Wii U, those were things where it's like, that was really cool, but I don't want this to be the new norm. I do want, like, at the end of the day, to have normal game experiences on top of like some new innovative tech that can kind of change the way we think about games or play games and stuff. But Nintendo Switch is the first time where it's like been both. Like the way I just described those two different dynamics, it is just both. So again, with Nintendo Switch 2 just being a PlayStation 4 equivalent of technical achievement, I'm excited for it. I mean, I kind of already have that. It's called the Steam Deck, but now we can have it with the Nintendo software and all new Nintendo software. And again, Nintendo developers will now not have to be so restricted with how they have to optimize their games, and we can go back to having really, really pretty Nintendo games again. Sorry, I don't want to insult anyone who really enjoyed how things looked graphically on the Nintendo Switch, but I am trying to say that, like, back in the day, hyper polish was Nintendo's fixation with their games. And like with now, it is definitely like, yeah, we're going to push it to make it look like it's kind of like a next gen looking Nintendo game, but we don't care if like things pop in, pop out. We don't care if there's like really weird sort of like fading effects and stuff like that, or we don't care if the LOD is incredibly obvious, you know, where like models just kind of shift to another model or whatever. It's something I'm not used to seeing in Nintendo games. I'm excited to see that go back to what Nintendo used to have for a standard for polish when it comes to, you know, immersion and stuff like that in games. So yeah, there's my little rant for you. There's my kind of like my pie in the sky, like thinking about the next generation and what that's going to look like, and be excited for that. I guess I can also just add here games that I'm really hoping to see with next gen. Obviously another Super Smash Brothers. What the heck are they going to do there? Like, are they just going to do Ultimate 2? Like, they could do an Ultimate 2 and just keep the roster as massive as it is. But personally, I really do hope that they kind of do something different. You know, they could do like a collection, honestly, at this point, of Super Smash Brothers games. I'd be fine with that. Like, get like a collection of Brawl and Melee and Ultimate, and like put it all in one collection and just make it HD and make them all online with working online. That would be super cool. And then we could get a new Smash Brothers game that can do something very different. You know, like the Smash Brothers really feels like it kind of hit the ceiling, in my opinion. I think that the only thing you really can do at this point is, like I said, just kind of retain all the rights to all the characters and expand the roster even further. Otherwise, you're kind of becoming reductive with whatever you decide to do. Me personally, maybe this is blasphemy, guys, but again, like, as long as we have a way to play the classic Smash Brothers gameplay on a Nintendo Switch 2, I'd be cool with them switching genres and like do like a crossover thing with Nintendo characters and maybe a very scant few third-party characters, and just do an all-new genre like RPG or something, or maybe like adventure game, or maybe platformer game, but that would be less exciting in my opinion. That's kind of like a small-scale idea. I want to see things get big. Like, I would love to see like a giant story with a whole bunch of characters crossing over, or I'd like to see, you know, an adventure like Zelda or something that involves a whole bunch of different characters and all that stuff. Like, that would be really, really cool for me. I know that that's probably like the least likely thing to happen in the world, because I think Sakurai and Nintendo would not want to upset fans who are engaged with the fan base of, you know, platformer fighting. It's funny because I do actually really enjoy that gameplay in those games. But again, my only point is that we're running out of characters to put in the game that would be even exciting at this point. Those are kind of like my thoughts on Smash. I would love to also see a new traditional Zelda game that's 3D, not Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom style. I've said it in a previous video, but I would love for there to be two teams now that make Zelda games, like one that is dedicated to the Breath of the Wild style, which is apparently like now the leading first team. And then I'd love to see another team solely dedicated to that classic 3D Zelda experience. I think that Nintendo can afford to do both, especially off of the success of Zelda as well as the Nintendo Switch itself, and probably getting a humongous fan base or install base for the Switch 2 is what I meant to say. So they could probably do that. And then on top of that, a 3D Mario game, what would they do? I wonder, like, is it going to be like an Odyssey 2? I loved Mario Galaxy. I'd love to see the graphics sort of be reined back in to have that graphical style that just seems so warm and glowy instead of how it looked in Mario Odyssey. But, you know, there's still an all new style could be brought in. I don't know. It's exciting. It's exciting to think about what Nintendo could do next. And I do hope that they do big things and exciting things. And of course, I totally expect many small scale games to come in as well, like we've been seeing, especially at the tail end of the Nintendo Switch's lifespan, which, by the way, man, it makes it so great to have a constant stream of games, even if it is big or small. It's the coolest thing about the Switch. Okay, so I've rambled on enough. Those are my thoughts on what I kind of hope to see with the Nintendo Switch 2. And hopefully you agree. I wonder if you even noticed what I noticed about the pop-in and stuff like that. But that is easily like my number one biggest complaint with the Nintendo Switch that I would really love to see change into the next generation. All right, guys. Well, anyways, thanks for listening to me and having a little talky time. Hard cut. I don't know what the heck I just said there. I was just wanting to say thank you so much for watching. If you can subscribe, that would be great. And take care.